it is more probable and more practical to convict that Adam is the subject and that Eve is the verb, and that that's what ancients taught to teach English than it is to teach what they teach about the history of English. For example, note leaving out the significance of the criminally foreign influence database relationships. So we have all natures of the reception of past, of what is active now and what is to come, recorded tactically, not integrity, but pretending other and how getting away and having gotten away with that. We have means out of nowhere. All kinds of people from suburbs across America want to help the people of the cities. There are only like 300 streets in Hartford, Connecticut. Now, even how they have all these different types of schools and options that is recorded involved with the worse than criminal incompetence used remotely criminally foreign influence that the FBI has with our intercities and state police and police forms as actually manifest, and with agencies and interbranch roles. Also, personally, with their families and everyone, with conversations, instances on off campuses. These were our effectively maintained criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions wrought. And that's exploited where and how we are manifesting tactically as fact treatment nature. And we have not had the scientists defended properly. So this is course, Boxy. So it is more probable and practical. For example, Eve is a verb as an identity of volume this way. This is the same reason why the verb is referred to as a participle nature, a present or past participle nature. This is the same reason why the verb also has a name as a gerund, also has a name as an infinitive. These are states of itself, or identities of relationship to itself, where it is not being used as a main verb. And this is where itself is dependent upon that hyperconjunction to an extent, inseparable from it as the value of the sentence, which is dependent simultaneously upon the subject too. If the subject only a verb can be a one word sentence and be proper, because the verb has inherent value and nature as subject, where there is an inherent value nature. So is everything is a value nature, but the subject is, as for example, Adam is also equal to alpha, and but alpha and omega have other meanings. In ancient times, they had other meanings than the ones that were agreed to be assigned to it with math, where they have each of the sciences individually grouped and together, and the parts of the maths individually grouped and together tactically, um, denatured, sequence value treatments, time value treatments, quality of act treatment, nature treatments, names treatments, perception treatments, positive and negative treatments, not by accident. This is relevant to a method of abuse of each age of fact treatment nature, adults, middle age, elderly, middle age, and kids, for example, multi-front, sickly, distinctly, to keep out sickly, non-distinctly from being discerned, to keep roles with it measured and maintained as each age of consciousness, each age of correlation nature, rather. Same thing, but distinctly measured and maintained, reliant upon logic that is reliant to defend itself upon other things, others, or selves having been blamed for things that the breaching method caused. And those things are increasingly relevant when we look at what's unfolding with our cities and with crime statistics and with debates regarding such and with criminality at the locations recorded involved with research and with polling of political opinions and things like that. We have the framing of subject treatments, criminally foreign influence, because we have the hyper subject left out. We have the hyper predicate left out, which is an identity of relationship that has to itself the hyper simultaneously we have left out. We have left out that because honesty with perception and reception of the sciences does not deny all kinds of demonstrations that we have needs to discern this distinct identity of sequence/simultaneous nature from the rest of them. And because it is attached to all their identities of volume, individually grouped in together. No, each person's volume, not just physical, distinct volumes bound, individually grouped in together, but how a person is valued simultaneously as an individual, as a group, locations, areas, ages, sexes, and species, body of volume, /s. The invisible but still discernible. That is making more of itself through the physical but still discernible. So discernible. But it's also making more of itself through the invisible but still discernible. So there are proofs that the ancients conceived syntactically, were shown to reveal syntactically how, the subject and the verb are two distinct identities of volume and non-distinct in demonstration of its distinct, non-distinct, and hyper-simultaneous relationship to itself. That part of that aspect of that identity that is positive onto all parts of the body of space/existence, but then it is further also concentrated, especially positive to and as Earth's value. Note where consciousness can be demonstrated to, where and how and why. 3 years equal 1,995 days, constantly being coupled with the value of Earth. And as Earth, humanity is a special difference as 5 bound identities of sequence/simultaneous nature. So it is 1,095 days, but is being coupled with what makes them the value as 1,100 days. And nature is demonstrating, for example, the need to discern the difference of how and why we are. These are 3 distinct volumes. We are humanity's volume one way as the species body, one way where we are individual bodies, male or female, and one way where we are an assessment of that being positive or negative. But now it is through systems tactical ulterior from the one that is hypernative pure, which is to define that one which was before the colonists were the logic roles and natures they were, where and how involved with Native American rights, which are valued to discern a breaching method having been applied against them as the same exact one applied against our founding parents. And then further against them, because we're how everything is syntactically manifest. But it's against everyone where everyone is roles with what's against us by being quality of fact, because everyone missed where and how all identity ground locations are being and haven't been used. It's a whole bunch of foreign and domestic family members and people with news locations and people with the private locations tied to the interbranch. They have roles in the past, using parks and taking pictures of kids next to each other consciously so they could have some people, so they could maintain remote uses of time treatments at interbranch locations where they pretend people who are liars, where they lock roles as liars, pretending others are liars. And with all exceptions, exception nature appearing to demonstrate other, really in demonstration the same thing. Two, that such phenomena being hid from ourselves through ourselves. People are made to self-value having been tactically pseudo-educated. Our founders left us to say other short words at each age of fact-cheaping nature than are being and having been said. Now, part of they've been getting away with this by pretending passions, emotions regarding their kids, but they are not true because they have their kids involved with needs to pretend passions, emotions because they faked conversations with other people. They have roles with other people's kids through times with drugs and medicines crimes as roles with the identity ground locations that are only counters to that. This is how they maintain completely possession over intercities locations, all with conversation of big words, big world, small world stuff used to keep locked three branches of government still stick fakes, delusions raw, tactically delusions raw, tactically criminally foreign, hyper criminally foreign influence, not just criminally foreign influence. This method knew effectively that modern countries A through Z would blame other things, others themselves, wrongly, exactly the way it needed them to do it wrongly, and then defend that where they would have to counter things like criminal insidiousness as fact cheating nature still as it. So they have the sports figures. They have Michael Jai White involved with the FBI, involved with wire crime acts and methods with Weathersfield police, and with various natures of federal criminals, and effective uses of this with other like WFSB fabricated news stories. They have roles with crimes with kids, with conversations with their parents and kids, where they influence them to roles with their illusions, as roles with various natures of federal crimes, and with people with abuses of their kids, and with names that brought up modern pastry, has conversations with people with Weathersfield Police and with state police and FBI and with people with New Britain, Central Connecticut State University, has roles with names and with a Fred Grisette is involved with people involved with identity thefts and frauds, with people on my area in the past that are involved with wire crimes of Weathersfield Police now and with the news media, and they have criminally foreign influence uses of parks with it, involved with it. It has something to do with that, with them trying demonstrating what they're pretending they're trying to hide, which is conscious uses of campuses involved with other countries' kids, where they're using them criminally foreign influence to our own, and they're pretending, they're needing to hide that because then they can't defend our kids over there. It's part of the method of it's part of the answers relevant to where they got so stupid and fake and delusions rot while pretending other, where and how these conversations come up that are relevant, like racism, to where and how better it is to describe it is that and how the course of black people / whites lives is abridged. And sides were forced to mean what they do not. Difference was forced to mean what it does not. This was so we could see. This is so we could discern the species volume science abridged, that hyper native pure. See, we're supposed to if we sense Native American rights hurt, that's because the founders' rights were their identities are still stolen. Since before cars, the ground was the suburbs were tactically denatured to force roles with these other value systems, means to sustenance through a filter. That was also a torture method. It was also a breaking method, a slavery method, and of all bound individually grouped and together. slave types, natures of slavery that our founders left us to address. And that means their own. And that means why and how they had to counter extort the other founding parents, let alone the people. They had to counter extort at the last seconds to force means to win the last battle of the Revolutionary War and to enter the economy with nothing. So even though the economy was criminally foreign influenced, all value systems tactical ulterior from how they would have been had sciences not become tactically criminally foreign influenced in the same ancient times. Prepare your minds, unleash your hearts. Vaccines. I teach you things below. So someone respond for them. It's not hard to fathom that there are only three branches of government. Their little switching names, fabricated roles with the crime scenes. They have people from Hartford Hospital involved with home break-ins and crimes with patients and criminals. They have judges and prosecutors involved with them personally, criminally, at Town Line Drive, on off the shopping location with various police forms and their family members. They have something to do with the Stop and Shops. Since before it was Stop and Shop, it has nothing to do with the company. It was when it was Food Mart. It was also involved with names that are involved now with those locations, with predicate acts in my area. And so they have the confessions about their roles with and pretending what it's about. They have narratives about. They said it was the Asian family and some people that worked for them. Even if that was true, they had people putting narratives like that forward in the past because there were other criminal foreign influences involved. And they need to have people's motivation. Even if they made the whole thing up, they have that corner involved with the names further involved with criminally foreign influence, confessions and uses and demonstrations of uses of sensibilities around of teachers at classrooms I went to, and had people on and off the locations. There's a spot. There's like a big building. I believe it was the prison offices, and then they maybe changed the name after I said it because it's so long, so many bad things and cases. Our side has been criminally foreign influence with names associated with that location, who are also being and having been involved with relevant predicate acts on and off the spots next to Central Connecticut State University and on and off its campus since I was a kid. And now there were kids that grew up there, and it affected them how they were abused by their family members, also involved with and as interbranch families and criminally foreign influenced foreign ones. That's how long the campuses have stayed criminally foreign influenced, where how countries are individually grouped and together criminally foreign influence. They have the principals and the deans of the kids and their kids. They have the judges and their kids and their extended family members, their neighbors. They get them all criminally foreign influence. Oh, I heard someone saying something like that. They can't afford what's actually recorded to be discerned. So they've been using all that comes before them to pretend others recorded. Criminally foreign influence reuses, self-value uses of recorded consciously known, but only to an extent. Criminally foreign influence statutes, precedents, natures in conjunction with them and with their decisions. Since founding, we were directed to demonstrate what witch trials were about, which is the slavery of our founding parents, which was sickly distinctly from everyone else, but it was also sickly non-distinctly. Fear God, the hide and plot. I rap a lot. Make sure you fix the fake news and get them on paper. They're pretending in passions and emotions. They're preventing justice at all locations and crime scenes increasingly, because to hide what I caught them doing at interbranch locations and from their own with the news media. Don't make it worse. Just give up to individuals involved with it. Roger Suzanne, you want to punk with those trick games, speaking involved with the campuses. You have your roles with the campuses. Oh, there was a bug on the screen. It was a little piece of the chair. Vaccines. So make sure you say sorry to Judge Napolitano, because you know that Weathersfield police. Say sorry to him. You know you fabricated lies. Don't give up former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, his lawyer and other lawyers are involved with the town offices in your roles with the Afghanistan stand. You guys brought it up. and Joe DeMauro and Heather Hansen made those confessions regarding the corner of Church Street and Main Street in Old Weathersfield. That building and the house next to it is also relevant to people on and off the various departments of Central Connecticut State University who have roles with predicate acts at other campuses and spots next to them through time. Joe DeMauro recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed roles with child abuse, child offenders with various natures, drugs and medicines, crimes in Cromwell. Now, he's also one of the ones with people at Central Connecticut State University through time with criminally foreign influence uses of class placements and of their roles with names criminally foreign influence through time. Delusions raw. They have the sciences themselves at every campus, individually grouped and together. Tactical ulterior, how that nature needs them to be appreciated, how actually individuals grouped and together, just like how we are hyper native, and then now through systems tactical ulterior, until Native American rights are hyper constitutional rights spoken for, then no one has rights. See chief, see how it goes to president, and they were still had to hide roles. How'd enter the economy, entertaining stuff, no way they would entertain. They want us to explain their and understand their slavery real fast, real fast. You don't bring up the other slavery without that. Yeah.